Okay, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have a magnificent guest with us today, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than our sister, the illustrious Sister Sandra Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Alaikum salam, sir. How are you?
I'm doing phenomenal, ma'am. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. And so many people are tuning in because we want to hear directly from you, Sandra, about what do you, about this past weekend. So I was blessed to be at an amazing event out in Phoenix, Arizona, the 60th birthday and birth anniversary of your life. How was that event? How did that make you feel, ma'am?
I felt wonderful. I've never really had any kind of big birth anniversary celebration. I would just get together with my grandchildren, my children, we'll have dinner and, listen to music and stuff. But this was amazing. It was amazing.
All
Be there
praises
were
to you.
all the believers and, coming together, having a nice time. I really enjoyed myself.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. So many people are bearing witness. Walaikum salam, Sister Naima. Walaikum salam, Brother Umar, Sister Armanda. Thank you, everyone who was watching. Shout out to YouTube. This is history that we're going live on YouTube today. So we want to make sure that we continue to show Sister Sandra love. The first question that we have for you today, well, the second question that we have for you today is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Well, I guess soon as I was able to hear anything, because I was born in a nation, and that was absolutely all that was talked about around my house. So,
Mm.
um, Islam is right there, right out of the womb.
All praises to Allah. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Now, and what right out of the womb, you hear the teaching. What was it like growing up prior to 1975?
Um, it was when we had to go into the world, it was difficult because we were different. We dressed different. The things we did were different. We ate differently. So going to school and out in the world, it was different. But we had a large Muslim family outside of our own, my mother and father's own 6 children. We
Mm.
had a large Muslim community in Buffalo, New York, and we were very tight. So it was loving. Um, my mother used to work in the kitchen every Sunday cooking dinners,
Mm.
selling dinners to the believers. And there was other sisters that took care of her children like they were their own children. And so it was a very tight knit family unit that we had in the nation, and I loved it. Yes.
All praises to Allah. And Sister Sandra, I'm gonna let you know people are showing you love all around the world. Thank you, Sister
Praise be to
Rashida.
Allah.
Thank you, M. Moo. Thank you, saying Alaikum Salam. Happy birthday, Queen. Brother Warren X Carter. Thank you for saying
Oh,
peace.
thank
Every
you.
every everybody is showing you love. Okay, your parents' names. May we have those, ma'am?
Well, my mother's name was Sister Catherine 3X. And Minister Farrakhan recently changed her name to Sister Matina.
Hmm.
My father's name was Brother Sandy. And Minister Farrakhan recently changed his name to Brother Jabbar. I'm sorry, Jabbar. So that was really a nice gift from my father on his birthday, which was December 25th. A couple of years ago, that was the present that Minister Farrakhan gave to him, his name.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Now, speaking of names, I've had the honor of meeting all three of your children,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
do great things in the nation, powerful believers, and just amazing human beings in general. But how did they get the names that they had?
Um, uh, I had Mariam, her name at birth was Sapphire. Her
Mm.
father liked the name, and of course, trying to please my husband, I let him go ahead and name her Sapphire. I didn't like the name, but hey, it was our first child, and he gave her the name Sapphire. But when she was 15 months old, Minister Farrakhan came to San Diego, and he was doing a speech on Stop the Killing, and which my brother gave him the title for that, Stop the Killing. Minister Farrakhan went off on him at first. Brother, stop the killing. Allah has just begun the killing, but he called back later and said, brother, I think we're going to go with that title, Stop the Killing. So that name rang for years, Stop the Killing. Some people still talk about it now. But anyway, he was on a tour, and in San Diego at the time. I was living in San Diego, and we were asked to babysit his grandchildren, sister, brother, Mustafa, and his wife, Sister Karen. So we watched the children. We didn't get a chance to go hear the minister because we were watching the children. But once the minister and Mother Khadija came back and everybody was in line trying to greet him and hug him and stuff, I asked him, I was pregnant with my second child, which is Salahuddin. I said, Brother Farrakhan, would you please name my child? And he said, yes, I would. He said, just give me a call once you've had him because I want to know how much he weighed and, on and on like that. I said, yes, sir, I will. So Brother Joshua, his son, he gave me the phone number. And after I had the baby, I called, and Minister Farrakhan answered the phone. I couldn't believe it. I was so choked up. You just wasn't expecting that. So I told him, I said, Brother Farrakhan, I said, this is Sister Sandra. You said you would name my child when we were in San Diego. I kind of went over the story. And he said, yes, ma'am. He said, when was he born? I said, on your mother's birthday. He said, is that right? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, when is that? I said, January 16th. And he said, okay, well, how much did he weigh? I said, 8 pounds, 8 ounces. And he went on to say, I think you would like the name Salahuddin. He said it so nice and strong. He gave me 2 ways to spell it, and I chose Salhuddeen. I just thought it was something that was a little more unique and different. And he told me, he said, read about Salahuddin and watch your son grow up in his footsteps. So that was amazing to me. So, and once he told me that, because my daughter's name was Sapphire, and I didn't want her to be left with that name. Yes, I said, Brother Farrakhan, I said, my daughter's name is Sapphire at birth. Could you please give her a holy name? And he said, Maryam. And he said it sharp, very sharp, like if you should have known better anyway. And so, and then I thought about it, I said, that's true, because when I was in labor and my sister, Kamala, was in the room with me, she said, I was hollering for an epidural, first of all, because I was in so much pain. And she was trying to keep me from getting the epidural. So she's talking to me and reading the Quran and everything. But when she opened the Quran, it opened it right up to Maryam. And she said, Sandra, she said, it opened up to Maryam. You should name the baby Maryam. And I said, no, everybody and their mother got the name Maryam. I don't want to name it Maryam. So that just went on from there. But when he told me Maryam so sharp and so forceful, I just had to submit, yes, sir. That is what I should name her. And with Umar, being that I had the number and everything, his phone number, I called after I had Umar, and this time the secretary answered the phone. Sister Jamila was the secretary I was talking to. And she said, I'll give him the message. And she did give him the message, but it took exactly 10 months for Umar to be named. We was just calling him Baby Muhammad. And so when she did, it was Sister Jamila I talked to, but it was Sister Amina who called me back. And she said, the minister gave your son a name. She said, you could name him Omar or Umar. And I chose Umar because I felt that Umar was the Arabic way of saying it instead of Omar. And so that's how they got their names.
Praise be to Allah. So many people are bearing witness in the comments saying, wow, praise be to Allah. Thank you, Sister Naima. Thank you, Sister Rashida. Thank you, everyone who is showing love. Shout out to Brother Kente, Brother Musa, the hopes, the auntie, our usual YouTube family. Shout out to the Facebook family as well. Yes, ma'am. Now, let's stay right there.
Okay.
You're young, the 80s, the rebuilding of the nation. What made you re-accept the teachings and fall into the Nation of Islam after it failed? What made you say, I'm going to, recommit myself?
Well, even though the nation fell and, we did a little, well, my siblings did a little dibbling dabbling out in the world because, the nation wasn't around, we still were taught Islam in my home. It was something that never disappeared. My
Mm,
father he was going to hold that mantle. He did not let it go. In fact, he never ever believed that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was dead. He would
mm,
put on
mm,
he would put on the time no time of judgment, I think it was called, the album, and we would listen to that. He would have everybody sitting down listen to it. Now him and my mom was in a disagreement at first because my mom was saying, well, saying, you should just let it go. They're saying that he's dead and he's not here. And, she was still trying to sneak us out to the mosque, me and my sisters. And my father, he was so kind and so humble. We came, what we used to do, my mother used to have us to do is put our clothes in a bag, and she would say, we're going over to my aunt's house. And once we got back from the mosque, we would take off our clothes and put on some regular clothes and come back home. My father
mm,
was
mm.
working on a car one day, and he came up to the car just as kind and mild manner. And he said, if I catch you going down to that mosque again, I'm going to burn this house down with you and the children in it. He was serious. He didn't want nothing to do with what they were doing down there at the masjid. And so Islam was something that he always held up. So it wasn't hard to come back to it. In fact, Minister Farrakhan came to University of Buffalo. I don't remember the year it was, but some of the older believers from the first had told my parents that he's going to be at school. So my father wanted to go down there and see, was he talking the same language that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking. So it was me, my two sisters, and my father who went down there to check it out. And so all along we nudging each other, like, okay, this is right. This sounds good. It sounds the same. And so my sister stood up, my oldest sister, they were taking questions. And she was the last one to got a chance to ask a question. She said, I want to know if the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, do you think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still alive?
Mm.
And Minister Farrakhan said, yes, he's alive in you and he's alive in me, and it's
Mm.
going on like that. But my sister said, no, no. I want to know, do you think he's physically alive? Because that's what my father had been teaching us.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is he physically alive? And he said yes. And that was it. We just started crying and jumping up and down. And we knew right then that that was the man to be following right then, Honorable Minister Farrakhan, because my father never let that word down of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And when we heard Minister Farrakhan come back with the same word, it wasn't no problem to accept. Again, yeah, everybody fell right in line. Yes, sir.
All praise to Allah. Yes, ma'am. And which sister was this who asked the question?
Practically my oldest sister.
Okay, beautiful. Yes, ma'am. Okay, shout out to Sister Kathy. But
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
all right, now and I want to go back to your. You said your brother came up with the name "Stop the Killing." Which brother? Can you be specific?
Jeffrey. He
Okay.
used to be the captain slash student minister in San Diego.
Mm.
Yeah. So your father knows Brother Jeffrey well.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, so he was around when all those were. He's not with us any longer. He passed a few years ago, but yeah, he was a hard worker, brilliant brother, brilliant. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Man, Allah be pleased with your brother
Yes,
and
sir.
your family. All of I didn't know you had San Diego. I knew Phoenix and I knew Buffalo
Yes,
because you always talk about it. But shout out to
yes,
the San Diego roots as well. Praise be to
yes,
Allah.
yes.
Yes, ma'am. Now, what advice would you give to the believers who we have a test coming. Muhammad Farrakhan is going to depart. You all, your family experienced that. You witnessed what the fall of the nation of Islam looked like once the messenger departed. What what advice would you give to the believers as far as holding on to our faith?
Minister Farrakhan has been teaching a lot lately about connecting, and he did a lecture on how the believers in the first were following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he was a great man, and all this, and we love him. But he said that we should have been connected to Allah. So when that happened, we could have sustained and kept doing what we were supposed to do, because that doesn't change the word. So I would say the exact same thing. We have to connect ourselves to Allah. So no matter if we lose a child, a mother, believer, whatever, husband, wife, we will still be connected to Allah and be right in the ranks without falling out.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. And Sister Sandra, would you ever go into the ministry?
Oh, absolutely not. Brother, I was a student captain for about 12, 13 years. And I work better from the back. I can do the pushing. I'm a hard worker. I can labor. I do that well. But being in front, I'm not comfortable with my, speaking and that sort of thing. And, so I leave that to somebody else who loves to do that. I don't like to be out front like that. I like to work from behind. And I can bring up the rear real good. I love that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I never knew that you served as a captain. All praise to Allah. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your family, I mean, I learn something new every day about y'all. So praise be to Allah. So yes, ma'am. And before we have a brief 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast, I want to make sure that we salute you and let you know that we honor you and your family, Sister Sandra. We thank Allah for your sacrifice sacrifice individually, but the sacrifice of the entire Muhammad family from Buffalo to San Diego and now Phoenix, Arizona. So we salute you all. And man, we come back to your grandchildren later on. And
yes.
you all should have seen what they did at her birthday party. It was just phenomenal. Excellence. Islam dignifies to see all these generations down. It was beautiful. All right. I want to thank everyone for each like, share, and subscription to the People's Podcast. We have a brief 60-second commercial for all of the sponsors. Thank you for every anonymous Cash App. Thank you to everyone who continues to show love to all of our guests. And we're coming right back to Sister Sandra. We give her a chance to drink some water or something while we have
yes,
our
sir.
Oh, 1 second. Yes, sir. All right, there we go. The drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of that. Sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy. She teaches young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Perfect. All right. Boom. Right back to Sister Sandra, as well as S Enterprise, barber and beauty products, a plant-based brush and wave company. Their website is kosherwave.com with the K, kosherwave.com with the K, 770-997-6000. They'll keep your waves, your hair, all of that beautiful with a kosher wave. That's Brother Jeffrey, Circe Muhammad, Sister Stephanie, Lasan Muhammad. They're doing great, doing business in Africa. We're about to move to Africa to do some more trade and commerce. Boom. Sister Sandra, speaking of trade and commerce, your family has a very strong ties into the community, especially spiritual ties, but also business. Do for self. Every sibling I know has businesses, and at your birthday celebration, people were coming up saying how you employed them. How you, till this day, you employed them, you work in the community, you care about the children, you looked out for believers. It was overwhelming to see how much love that people showed you based off the work that you've done. What is it about you that has such a entrepreneurial spirit?
I Yes, brother. My mother and my father were such hard workers. They didn't push education a lot, which sometimes I say, oh, I wish, I could have had more of that, schooling, but they didn't push that a lot. But what they did push is work. You had to do something, you had to make something um, for yourself. And that's just embedded in all of us. And I really can't help it because some of you see at the party, I was still working when I was supposed to have been sitting down. Miriam kept telling me, Mom, go sit down. It's just hard. It's just in me. So yeah, so I'll have to give that credit to my mother and father because they were just such hard workers. And as as far back as I can remember, my parents were father out on the corner selling the papers, he hustling, running the Chevrolet, working, coming back. Him and my mother had a little restaurant in the bowling alley. He's working there. And I just remember looking at him and saying, there's no way I can do that. There's no way that I can do all that he do. But I guess watching and seeing that and it just kind of rub off on you.
Yes,
So
ma'am. Wonderful. And Sister Sandra, what advice would you give to the sisters as far as what teaching and training of the MGT and things? What did you tell them all of the years that you served as a captain? And then what would you tell them now?
um, I would say, you know, and I know we hear this all the time, um, be yourself and accept your own. And when
Mm,
I say be yourself, don't try to be anybody else. If you're struggling with something, work on your struggling and take it to Allah that, you may get the help. And I can bear witness that taking things to Allah, because I've taken things that were so embarrassing, I wouldn't tell a soul, but I've taken it to Allah and He has delivered me from things. And I'm like, this is real. But you have to experience that for yourself for you to really know that it's real. And so just be yourself. Don't say one thing, or a lot of people say to their children, don't smoke, don't drink, don't fornicate, don't do this, and then they may do it. Don't eat meat because I want y'all to be vegetarians, but you eat meat. Just if you want a product, you have to be the product. So just um, try to be true to your word and be the best example you can be.
yes, ma'am. Beautiful. All praises to Allah. And Sister Anaya says, great advice. Uh, Brother Luxury Auto. Hey, Brother Ian says, let's get the likes up, y'all. Thank you, Brother Ian. And thank you, Sister Anaya. Thank you, Sister Dejan. Thank you, everybody holding it down in Arizona. Okay, yes, ma'am. Now I wanted to ask you also your grandchildren. How's being a grandmother impacted
Oh, I love being a grandmother. It's beautiful. It you see yourself actually living on through them, and in fact, that's what keep me going most of the time, just trying to do better for them. I tell my children when they were growing up, I said, it's not one day that I wake up that I don't think, what can I do to help my family? What can I do to help my family? So I feel the same way about my grandchildren. I don't want them to have to suffer what I suffered, and I want to have something established of Islam in this world's life. So my grandchildren wouldn't have to suffer with all the foolishness that we had to suffer with. So um, that's why I said that's what keeps me moving a lot. Just wanting them to have a better place.
yes, ma'am. Wonderful, wonderful. So at the event, I want to bring everybody to the event. You walk in. First of all, as soon as you get there, the security is first class. They out front. You got the greeters, everybody, all the workers. Then you chandeliers is white. You know, it's a first class event. Of course, I was the only one who didn't have all white on. Don't get me started. But
That's
all right, but
okay. That's okay. We love to have you there, so it didn't matter.
yes, ma'am. But as I was there was a point where Brother Umar, the successor, the great artist, was speaking and testifying to the love that he has for you. And everybody was doing their testimonies. But then Sister Miriam uh, highlighted your grandchildren. And they're on the stage for everyone who's watching. Inshallah, we're working on something soon with Brother Yusuf and them to present them to the People's Podcast. But they're on the stage and they're playing all of these instruments in their suits and dresses, and it's an ensemble. I mean, they got the harmony. I'm big in the theater, so they got it. They got the harmony. And this is just, it was just in a, for everyone who was watching, I wish that you all could see, and we gotta get some video footage. Shout out to Brother Yusuf. Let's send me some video footage, Brother Yusuf, so we can
Yes.
highlight the Islamic Renaissance and resurgence that we have here in North America. Did you know that all of those years later, that you will one day see your grandchildren still representing the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as you did when you were a child?
Brother Joshua, that's a good question. But I absolutely did, because I know how I drove my children to Islam. I used to tell them that, people say, oh, I want to grow up and be a doctor. I want to do this. I want to do that. I said, the only thing I want y'all to be is righteous servants. That's what my focus was. So I I didn't think a whole lot about grandchildren, because my children weren't married then and that sort of thing. But um, I knew once my children would have children where I would want them to be. Absolutely, there's no place else to go. Right here, stay right here and keep digging these roots down in the ground for Islam. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. All praises to Allah. Beautiful. And people and Sister Nicole Muhammad said she needed to hear what you just said. Sister Rashida says, wonderful. I'm glad. Okay, let's go. I want to go back to me and your first introduction that I remember as an adult. Perhaps you saw me as a child. But
Yes.
we were in Tampa, 2010.
Okay.
Dealing with Dianetics, and Brother Rashad was running
Love
the
them.
E team at the time, and
Yes.
he's telling me, he said, Brother Joshua, I'm very Chicago, Atlanta, biased. It's just me and my squad. And he was
Yes.
like, he said, go and get every young soldier from around that you see and bring them and tell their parents and the
Yes.
messenger of Allah, the minister has need of them. And I was like,
Yes.
that, and as somebody who's very introverted and very just like military, I was like, nah, I'm like, he said, Joshua, go out there and tell them the minister has need of their children, go get their sons, and you want to put them on post for the minister. And so that he took me out of my comfort zone. While I'm doing this in Tampa, I see these two brothers standing with each other, just chilling. And I was like, hey, y'all trying to hold post for the minister? I was like, Brother Rashad said, the minister has need of your children. I mean, it has need of you. And they said, yeah, you got to ask our moms. And I went and spoke to you, and you would not let my hand go. You said,
That's right. That's right.
you said you want my sons to stand with the minister. By all means, let's go get them on post. And from that day forward, I've been locked in with your family, because
Yes.
your sons be soldiers, to see everybody, but to know that I just remember them not being on post. Now I see Umar, he's running everything. He's earpieced up and all, what I'm saying? Salawat's doing great things. So it's always a good thing to see from 2010 now to 2024. That's why I had to pull up to your birthday just to show love, because I was like, man, Muslim family.
Yes, sir, brother Joshua. I'm so happy that you mentioned that. I want to thank Brother Rashad for even taking time with you young brothers. I really love him for that. And for you to be such a young man and came to me like a grown man, and I want to know, sister, you're so respectable. I want to know, sister, if we could take your sons and we have something for them to do. And you don't find that in the nation like we should find it in the nation. And when you did that, it just did something to me. That's why I couldn't let go of your hand. It's making me emotional right now to have that. And we should do that.
Yes,
we
right.
should do it. These women, I was single at that time, I'm single now too, but helping to do something with my sons. That was amazing to me. And I would never forget you just for that alone. So
Yes,
when we
ma'am.
talk, it's always good to talk to you, and you're always on a positive note, and that sort of thing. And yes, I thank Allah. I thank Allah for you. I thank Allah for Brother Rashad to push you out there, and I thank you for really, because you got them involved, and they were so excited. They were excited about it. So that was beautiful.
Yes, ma'am. And it's always nothing but love. And then from that, because the connection with your family, I later met your brother, Brother Donnie, and he brought me to hit Torchlight, his
Yes,
school, and I saw something I'd never seen. Once again, I want to go on site and let the People's Podcast viewers, you all got to see a Muslim running charter schools with buses and
yes,
drilling and the community. You
yes.
know, this is things I've never thought I would see. I went to MUI and it was MUI, but it was not for the whole community. It wasn't like on a charter school level
Right, right.
with everybody doing parades. And so your family is just amazing. Okay, so and everybody's bearing witness in the comments saying wonderful, praise be so alive. Great. Speaking of you being single, you brought that up. What advice would you give to the sisters as well as the brothers who are looking for marriage and love, something that you're always talking about?
Um, I would say don't do as much looking as we should working on ourselves. Because we look and we look and find the wrong thing, and then you got yourself in a world of trouble, you know. So that's not good. I truly believe that Allah will bless us with what He has for us,
Mm,
and but you know now I, I made some mistakes now. But I've learned from the mistakes, and I just want to take my time. I want to be able to just be patient, you know. And like Mother Tanetta had told a bunch of singer sisters before, be happy at the stage you're at. If you're
mm,
single, be happy single. You know, you find some stuff that the single sisters do and have a nice time. If you're married, be happy at that stage. Because when you're single, it's going to always be something you don't like. And when you're married, it's going to be something you don't like too. So
mm,
just be
mm.
happy where you're at. And so I've learned that, you know, when my children all, you know, left the home and got married and stuff. And I felt so alone. I was like, oh Allah, why are you punishing me? Because, you know, that's all I knew. I didn't have a husband. I just felt like I was being punished. But now I've grown to love it. I have more time for myself. I can get in, I can lay down at night and do some reading and just is developing myself and loving myself and learning to be by myself.
Mm,
And I enjoy it. I enjoy it now, but I can't say that I've always enjoyed it. You
mm.
know, I was used to being wrapped around my children and everything else, you know, but now, you know, I'm happy with it. So if Allah bless me um with a good mate, then you know, I'm willing to wait on that. I don't want to make another mistake.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so now once I post a picture of you with the crown and everybody sees all of this, the brothers are gonna be lined up trying to go, try to marry Sister Sandra. Excellent. Uh, Sister Naima says, side note, she is so beautiful. Your skin is glowing. Thank you, Naima.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. And then Sister Rashida says yes, and everybody exclamation mark. Wonderful. Okay, I wanted to ask you, what type of music do you enjoy listening to, ma'am?
I think I like all types of music, Brother Joshua. If you notice at the event, they were playing a little bit of everything, you know. So I like all types of music. But Yusuf have got me on this, what they call it, um, gosh, I can't even think of the name of it. The neo soul,
Okay,
you
yes,
know.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So sometime when I'm here, maybe preparing dinner or something, I will put on some neo soul music or you know
Okay.
something like that, and just kind of chill, or to chill hop music, something like that. You know, kind of mellow and you know where I can kind of enjoy myself and enjoy what I'm doing. You know, whether it's cleaning or cooking or whatever. You know, so yeah.
Excellent. Yes, ma'am. And for everyone who is watching, I do not, though people see me drill or people who know me from acting, they think that that's my personality all the time. In crowds, it's not my thing. I do not enjoy doing being the life of the party and all of that. But for Sister Sandra, she said, Joshua, come out here and do this Cupid shuffle with us. And everybody was doing brand new dance. You got, to the left, to the right. So to see Sister Sandra and all of the Muslims, all of the community, it wasn't just Muslims, it was the whole community was
Right,
there
right, yeah.
doing righteous fun. Everybody was stepping white. It was a great event just of culture and refinement. So shout out to Sister Sandra. Shout out to your children
Praise be
for
to Allah. Thank you.
for planning that event and help planning the event. All
Yes.
right. Yes, ma'am. My next question that we have for you is the the state of humanity, society, everything that you see, people need hope. People are looking for faith and
Yes,
hope, everything looking for that.
yes.
What advice would you give to everyone as far as just belief, not giving up on faith in general?
Um, I think it's like when you're having a baby and you get to that point where you just can't go any longer, that's when the baby is delivered. We all looking for hope and faith and that sort of thing, but and it is difficult. It's hard. Um, but I think we just have to stay focused and keep going because it's going to come. That ray of sunshine is going to come when you least expect it. So just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward, and but also we say we want hope and that sort of thing, but we have to give hope to people. If it's people that you see, then they're down, don't talk about that or what's wrong with them or whatever. Give them hope. If I see somebody in a crowd, and this happened often, and they come to the mosque and they're standing off by themselves, I always go and approach them, talk to them, give them some love. I like to see people happy. And I like to be happy. So, and I often tell people when they say, "Oh, thank you, Sister Sandra, for doing this to me," I say, "You're welcome. The only thing I'm looking for back, and when I need the help, you help me too." So, um, I think if we give more love and hope, then we can receive it as well. You know.
Beautiful. Yes, ma'am. We have one more question for you, or two more questions. And thank you, everyone who's watching. Thank you for each of the comments. And shout out to my sisters for recommending going live on YouTube because they were like, this is where so many of our people are at. So shout out to all the people podcast affiliates.
Yes.
Thank you, Mimi Naima. Thank you for YouTube, the suggestion. Everybody new to me going on YouTube live. Thanks to Nicole. She says, be happy wherever you are. Wonderful wisdom. Yes, ma'am. That's right, sister. Claps, fire emojis, all of that good stuff. Okay, now, your daughter, Sister Mariam, presented you with a car, and her and her husband, they presented you with a new car with a ribbon. I just want to make sure that you are still sending me the old car. Are you still sending? Is that's still a part of the agreement, right? You're still sending me a car?
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Now, Sister Sandra, our last question that we have for you is, what would you like your legacy to be, ma'am?
I would like it to be what people say, Sister Sandra always gave us some sunshine, some light, some good words, some encouragement. You know, that's what I would like to be remembered for.
Mm.
Helping people. When somebody's down, I remember this sister helped me, and such a that will make me feel good. I would like that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And what a wonderful legacy you have. Shout out to all your businesses. Shout out to the family again. Shout out to everybody. Inshallah, I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, sir.
My brother's got family out there, so it's always, so I'm always
Yes.
back and forth
Yes.
between Arizona and Atlanta. And if you ever come to Atlanta again, we were supposed to see each other
Okay.
last time, you know what I'm saying? So inshallah, the next time you see each other, you come to Atlanta, we will see each other.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to everyone who was watching. May Allah continue to bless Sandra and her entire family. Shout out to the People's Podcast affiliates. Thank you again, Mimi Naima, for this suggestion. You all can find us here on YouTube live on the People's Podcast. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off. Thank you all for watching. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Welcome.